Okay, we are live on Facebook. Welcome to your Monday morning roast. I'm your host, Joe Webb, along with my co-hosts and best industry friends, Bill Playford, Brent Wees, and David Hudson. This is our 9th episode, and our show is the equivalent of gathering around the old water cooler, coffee in hand, catching up on each other's work or weekends, discussing current events, along with topics such as life, love, and a little work. If you have something to say about our topic, share a relevant story, or just ask us a question, just drop in your request to join in the comments, and we may direct message you a link to join us on video only. Just know you'll be subjected to a question or two in return, maybe even a light roast, hence your Monday morning roast. Cheers, boys.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Salud.
So I'd love to just go around the room and ask everybody how their weekend was. So, obviously, July 4th weekend. Bill, what did you do when celebrating your July 4th weekend?
I didn't do any yard work, so that's a pattern. So I want to bring that out that I didn't do that. So in case you're just tuning in for the second time, but no, it's really awesome. So it's actually a really cool part of the year because it's my wife's birthday, it's my anniversary, it's 4th of July. And then that's like 3 other members of her family's birthdays as well. So it's like this kind of multi-day event celebration. So actually got to go out as a couple for the first time in a long time in the COVID-19 world and have a nice dinner. So that was awesome. Also today I've been like helicopter parenting like crazy, but my son starts his gifted program camp. And so I've been trying to get him set up at my folks. So I just let him do it there. They're doing it all virtual this year, which is kind of a pain in the butt, but he's going to hang out with his grandparents for the week. And then actually it's just really cool for him. It's neat that he gets to study these different programs, and he's studying nuclear physics actually this summer, which is, kind of crazy to think about as a 12-year-old, but
given the current government state of affairs, that's almost a requirement.
Yeah, exactly. So, but it's really neat that he gets to go through that program. So I'm a little tense, thinking about what he's doing and just making sure he's focusing on needs to today. But it was an awesome weekend. I got to tell you,
Fireworks.
It kind of feels like normal.
You spent July 4th just with the missus. Did you see fireworks, or were there fireworks, or what?
Hey, I see what you did there. So I live on a chain of lakes, and so every lake has their own homeowners association fireworks display. So it was like Sarajevo circa the 90s, just the whole night for like Friday, Saturday, and even into Sunday. It was just lots of fireworks. And
what, ethnic cleansing?
Yeah, just less genocide.
Yeah, all of it.
What?
And just genocide
Yeah.
fireworks. So
wow.
there's
Oh,
actually
fireworks.
Yeah. See, but what's cool is that we literally could like sit on our couch, look out our picture window, and see the fireworks from where we're just sitting there. It was pretty cool. So it was great.
Awesome. Brent, so I'm sure you guys don't celebrate July 4th in Canada, but you did
Saturday.
We celebrate Saturday.
Yeah,
it was
you
amazing.
did a happy Canada Day. What'd you do?
We had a great Canada Day. Canada Day was on Wednesday, and Maggie was in the city with Lisa and I, and we celebrated her 16th birthday, which was July 2nd. Same as Carla, right? Carla's July 2nd?
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, so Carla and Maggie celebrate the same birthday. So we did a day early because she had, some of her friends come up. So because of social distancing, something you do, actually we've been doing in Canada for a bit, it's called social distancing. It's where you actually don't go near people. And
I read about that.
It's really, it's flat in the curve up here. It's amazing.
Yeah,
I don't see a lot of it down south, but
that didn't get too much publicity in these here parts.
So how you do it is you stay 6 feet apart from people.
Is that 2 meters? Is that 2 meters?
2 meters that aren't in your family, in your immediate family, who you're not living with. Yeah, you stay away from them, and we've kept things close so you can't be around people. That way people don't get sick. So she had a social distance sort of front yard thing with her friends on the Thursday. So I stayed, I wasn't going to be the cramper style dad, but she had Jackie, my ex-wife, had set up this big sort of social distance hangout for her high school friends to I think it was 4 of them that came over.
So that means all of our friends are like this the whole time, just like 6 feet apart.
Exactly. They were texting back and forth. Yeah. No, it was pretty cool. They sent me some pictures, and they just all hung out and sort of played cards and things they could do with distancing. They have started to install this sort of like social hub plan that like with your immediate family and like Bill, like grandparents, right? So if there's 5 of you and then you've got 2 grandparents that are nearby, you can start to put people together that way. Like, but you've got to kind of keep to that group. So if it was like the 5 of us and, you know, we kick Eric out because he's not here today, but, you know, you just can uphold to that. But yeah, over the weekend, because a lot of people though took a lot of holidays, you could see in different places where people just don't get it. It's like, it's brutal hot up here. And, you know, some areas of the province were just teeming with people, like too close, no masks, and good on them. Like, great, you know, and they'll be the ones wondering how they got sick later on, but that's up to them, I guess.
Dave,
it was good weekend.
Dave, what did you do for this weekend, July 4th?
I did, in fact, do some yard work. Sarah and I have been slowly but surely making the outside really look nice. I put in some pavers in my back door that leads out to the wooded area. And I'm just now getting over being sore. These were heavy and I'm holding them up and I'm trying to, oh my God, my entire body was sore. It's unbelievable.
It's probably coronavirus, actually. 'Cause that's
Full blown.
I hope
Riddled
so.
with coronavirus.
How are your lungs?
Full blown corona. I've got full blown.
you're riddled.
And then we had a party. We went and saw, well, Jackson, my stepson, had some baseball tournaments. And then we had the house, which includes my ex-wife, her boyfriend, his kids, me and Sarah, my good buddy John Franzen. You guys know him. Brent doesn't know him. And I just had a blast.
I don't
Had a
want
great
to know
time. And it was a really nice time. Beautiful weekend, a lot of sunshine, a lot of work, so it was great.
Nice.
Oh, it was interesting is, so on the 4th, we're all here, right? And because all of our communities canceled fireworks, there has been a big black market to commercial grade fireworks. So walking around the neighborhood, some folks got their hands on it, and unbelievable. I mean, like huge fireworks coming out of someone's front lawn.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So that was
I saw you texted us about that the other day,
Right.
Yeah.
That was a very strange experience. I've never experienced that because it's always at a place, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
I think everything I remember even about Chicago is people just setting them off from their homes.
but not like this. Yeah, that's for sure. I mean, bottle rockets and some M80s at the biggest, but these were like huge fireworks, like all over the place. And it was just a little eerie because I'd never quite experienced that. And if you can let your mind wander, you know, it feels a hell of a lot like Sarajevo, circa 1990.
Exactly. No, it's so our we have some neighbors that are kind of yahoos. Now mind you, I have like 2 immediate neighbors that I share property with.
Yahoos?
So yeah, but they're real yahoos, and they had a party that was like whatever the opposite of social distancing is, and they were launching these quote unquote commercial grade fireworks, professional grade fireworks. They basically were just clearing like weeping willow trees, like about 40 feet, to the point where like the booms were like uncomfortable. And it was like, I don't know if I should stay out here and watch and just make sure nothing on my property catches on fire because it's that low. I mean, they're like literally just getting at the treetops, or if I should just go and ignore it. And I just decided to go and ignore it because it's about freedom. We celebrate freedom on the 4th of July or something, but it just kind of makes you wonder, like, what kind of questions happen when you want to buy these huge ass like mortar launched fireworks? Like, hey, oh, I see you got 10 fingers, so you must be equipped to handle these things. So
Probably the same thing they ask when you buy guns, really. So
no, it's a lot more challenging.
Yeah.
Well, this isn't. I don't live in Florida, okay, so or Texas, but yeah, it's shocking how this stuff just starts to trickle down, and that's what it is for the most part in the lakes. If it's a nice night, it's clear. There's somebody launching these giant fireworks to the point where like our kids ignore them. The kids are like, yeah, they've lost their luster.
I get frustrated when like people launch them on like they start on like the 26th.
Oh yeah, that's been
28th, the 29th, 30th. So, but I mean, I will say I was out with Timmy. They're picking up new eyeglasses. These are them.
Those are great. Those are great.
No, these are computer glasses. I'm having an allergy
My mom has the exact same pair, Joe. They really look good on both of you.
Now, these are just, as you can see from the
Those
glare,
are
these
your
are
mom.
just computer glasses. Yeah, these are my mom's.
Does it say just computer glasses on the arm or something? Or
So they don't help. They're not
It's
prescription.
like in the inner writing right here, Brent. Like this part says
Which
computer.
light?
just computer?
Just
They got
computer. Only
Yeah.
computer.
that blue
Exclusive.
light scam that they run.
Got it from
well,
Reader's
really,
Digest.
I'm doing it to cover up this bad eye. I showed Bill, and he threw up a little bit. So anyway,
I did.
What's going on with your eye?
just really terrible allergies, and I think the tear duct is blocked, so I look like Sloth from.
Come on,
Goonies.
just open it up. Just raise your glass for a second.
It's a Schlesian.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Are you sure it's not HIV?
It is, but this is a symptom of it. So
It's got the sugar.
blocked tear duct.
Are you sure?
as most people don't know, is one of the leading side effects of being HIV positive. So
The more you know. Where's the little rainbow graphic? What to add that
Exactly.
in?
the more you
The
know.
more you know.
Yeah, exactly.
So this is the first time ever where I've always went and bought some of the fun little fireworks. But we were going to my wife's friend's house, and her husband live on they've got a ridiculous house on a lake, and I thought I'm gonna bring some no joke good fireworks. So I did go out and buy a few of those big cake like monster things, and I did get a few of those, and just some like morning glory sparklers for the kids. But I did bring a few of those and a couple small ones that I brought them over to his place, and because he lives on a lake, and it's like a private lake, every single neighbor the whole time is just, I mean, from 9 o'clock until probably 11, it's going off. And this guy, I can't imagine how much he spent on the fireworks, because what I brought was just a drop in the bucket, because he had to take 2 trips with like a golf cart just to bring them down to his dock where he's got jet skis or whatever.
So
my
today's
wife
word, kids, is compensating. That's today's word for Monday. It's
I-
compensating.
My wife went jet skiing, and I just hung out. But it was a real small group of people. Thankfully, it was the whole time. I think it was like 10 adults, and then maybe like 6 kids or whatever, which is still a little more than what is probably appropriate. But in a like 10, 11,000 square foot mansion, there's plenty of social distancing. Like Timmy was in the movie theater room, and 2 other kids were in the game room. 2 other kids on one couch. 2 other kids on so it was, and then they got this mouse. It was really it sort of made me feel less like, what have I been doing wrong my whole life that I don't have this? But I will say it was a really nice, pleasant day, just being around people, having a couple soda pops and alcoholic soda pops, and just chatting, like mixing it up. And I think that's one of the things that I think I missed a little bit about summer. And don't get me wrong, summer is such a magical time when you're young, just a magical time. Like if you think about the summer, it was like so freeing and something you look forward to so much. It's like the last day of school, and you rip out your locker and you throw things, and you like head out with a darn near empty backpack, and you get on your bike and you just meet up with your friends. And that's what summer was. Like summer was, you have breakfast, maybe you watch a cartoon or 2, you get dressed, and you leave the house. At least back in my day, you leave the house and you come back again right around dinner time. You eat dinner and then you're out again, And I think summer, not just because of coronavirus, I don't want to say coronavirus, I think summer's changed quite a bit for a lot of kids. Like I still, like Tim would be fine, not that he likes going out, but if Ty, like even we're on a cul-de-sac, if he's out in a cul-de-sac for more than 5-10 minutes, I'm like, I should check on him. It's just like, it's a different world now. So, and I wonder how much you think, I'd love to hear how you feel like summer's changed. Like, Dave, tell me a quintessential summer story from your youth, like something that you're like, this embodies everything summer was to me. Dave's frozen.
Yeah, it was like that. We were on our bikes early. I'd ride down to my buddy John's. We would ride all day long, come back maybe for lunch if we did that, gone again. And then in the evening when it got dark, we were playing, hide and seek. And we talk about this often. As we got a little older, by the time, between 5th and 8th grade, if we didn't get chased down by somebody, it was not a successful evening. So our goal was to do something to be chased by an adult neighbor and have to hide and like really be like stealth about it.
Oh yeah, no. And you remember the feeling of nervousness and joy and excitement.
Oh yeah.
You know someone's out for you.
But if you'd like hide like right on the ridge line of like some bushes or a fence where it's just right dark down there, you'd hide, you'd be laying there and they'd be walking by and you're like, oh man. Yeah,
if somebody doesn't shake a fist and say, "You darn whippersnappers," then you've done it wrong.
Then we're
Yeah, I don't know what 50s neighborhood you grew up in. Son of a bitch was a little bit more like it.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So Brent, what was your summers like up in the CA?
Well, my friend and I would usually just build a raft and we'd just float down rivers, just finding our adventures.
I will say it. Yeah, that's really great. You had so anyway, Mark.
My friend Brock and I would just float down the river.
I'm your Huckleberry.
A lot of fun.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah.
It's the same. It's like, I don't know. Summers were different because as I lived in a really agricultural area, and so by late public school, one of the badass things you could do in the summers was actually make money by detasseling corn. So I spent my summers actually working the fields, and you would walk up and down fields of corn, and you would pull out the tassel on the top of a corn that you see. That's actually a theme. You pull those out so the male corn plants could pollinate the female. That was female corn plants, so they would plant corn a certain way. So you would walk down the female rows and you'd pull out the top tassels. So, but you had to be a certain height. Like when they hired you, you couldn't do it if you were under 5 feet tall or whatever. You had to be a certain height. You had to reach up to the top. But these corn leaves were like,
Eric isn't allowed to be tasseling corn?
Eric Milch never detasseled corn, and he never will. But so you'd work in the rain. You'd be walking up and down these fields, and they'd set off a siren if a thunderstorm rolled in because you had to get the fuck out of the field. So you'd be running out of these cornfields, and you'd be wearing like garbage bags as raincoats. It was like the weirdest summer job, but you made buku money. So it was that was some of my summers.
That is interesting. That like when you're a kid, you would go.
That was kid summer.
Kids were naturally entrepreneurial. Like you'd go out and not in the summer, but you'd go and ask people if you shovel the driveway for money.
You were cutting lawns in the summer.
It was mowing lawns, yeah.
Yeah.
So, I remember doing that because it's like, hey, if you score $5, God forbid somebody paid you $10 for a lawn, you're in the money. Like that was your week.
Yeah.
That was your week. And now it's like I remember a kid came to my house maybe 15 years ago in Chicago. And he said, "Do you want me to cut your grass?" And I said, "How much?" And he said, $100. So like,
the kid was listening to Gary Vaynerchuk. That's what it was.
Yeah, exactly.
Vaynerchuk.
Bill and I were talking about this. So
no.
yeah, Bill and I were talking about this. He was showing like a tornado pattern because where Bill is, the weather patterns usually blow up through my neck of the woods a day after Bill. But living down in the southwest part of Ontario near Detroit. And Bill lived in Michigan. I would watch TV 50 as a kid, like in the summers, like before I got to like work, like cutting lawns and doing other stuff. It'd be 4th grade, 5th grade. And every time a thunderstorm rolled through, TV 50 would be rolling these tornado warnings. So you just lived in fear of like having to like, set up in the basement.
Covered.
Because every other day, like when it got hot like this, it'd just be like tornado warning after tornado warning. You lived in like this terrified state of your house being torn apart by a tornado.
Interrupt the Rockford Files on TV 50. There.
Yeah, or Emergency 51.
So Dave, your friend said, and it made me realize, he said tag at night on Jackson and Jefferson. Scott Leonard said that. And it's interesting because I will say where we lived in Cincinnati, there were it's on a downward street, but there were 2 cul-de-sacs. And so many kids in that neighborhood, we would go out and play. You guys probably don't remember. Everybody remembers Kick the Can. This was one called. You got to turn down the volume.
Yeah.
This one was called Ghost in the Graveyard. But either way, we would play from dinner time until it was 11 or later at night every single night. And that's back when you're 10 until 13 or 14, and then you start enjoying it more. And when I I will say most of my summer memories come with my best friend at the time was Chris Sweeney, and he and I would just go out literally for the entire day. Wouldn't matter, trekking through woods, bike paths, things on our bikes, doing God knows what. We would ride so far where we wouldn't have the energy to ride back, and we'd have to call somebody off a payphone to come pick us up. And I remember there's really big sewers, and it's always in movies, and you're like, we would go and just like with a walking stick and flashlights, and we would get in these giant sewers, and we would just walk in the sewers real deep. I'm saying for hours. And I remember we would pop up, like we came in Western Hills, we would pop up and we were in Delhi, like miles and miles and miles away. We'd walk through sewers and finally come out of a manhole cover and try to assess where the hell we were, because there was no, there are no phones. But it was so crazy and dangerous. But those are the type of things you used to do. And as you had mentioned, Dave, when like we would spend time up in Lake Barrington Shores in Barrington, Illinois, at my dad's place. He wasn't working all day, and it would just be Chris and I, and we'd go out wreaking havoc, like swim club. We'd go to the golf, like the country club, and eat lunch. But we'd be blowing up stuff with pipe bombs. Like we were just bad kids, But it was good kids. But sometimes we did some bad stuff.
Yeah, but I think the one thing that
So I've got this funny story. There's
please.
I've got a funny story. We used to sneak into the golf course at night, and sometimes we sneak in during the day. All times of years. In the wintertime, we'd sneak in and we'd track each other in the snow. But in the summertime, we'd sneak in. And so there's a prominent pediatric dentist in the area. He's such an awesome guy. He's a good friend of mine. We grew up together. Me, my buddy John Franzen, and this guy named Matt, we would go into the golf course. We went one year, and we were kids, and each of them found an orange golf ball. And I wanted to get that orange golf ball. So imagine there's 3 little asshole kids running around the golf course, and I see this dude hit, great shot. He's probably second shot, getting to the green, and it was an orange golf ball. So there I come, jumping out of the sand, running, grab his ball, roll, fall. And this guy's yelling at me, and there we go, running off, and then snuck out of the fence after that guy's shot. So
how does running off go again?
it's like Happy Gilmore. It's like he's the giant dude.
Yeah. So Bill, what were you saying?
No, I was gonna say though, I think the one thing that's different though, and all these stories kind of all really hone in on this, the fact that like there's neighborhoods full of kids. Like I don't see a lot of neighborhoods full of kids anymore. And like when I think of Dave talking about doing the big hide and go seeks or those games like that, like we would like literally take over like 2 blocks. I mean, because we had so many kids in our neighborhood, and we're all 3-4 years apart, maybe at the most. And hell, we'd have these like neighborhood wide games of hide and go seek, or we'd play guns or whatever else. And it was like we do it for like weeks. We just like take up where we left off. Who is it? Oh, it was Matt. Okay, cool. And like so it was a blast. And as you can imagine, like 2 blocks of playing hide and go seek, there's a lot of ground to cover, so then we start playing in teams, so it's just a lot of fun stuff like that. And there's a little funny anecdote I got to share with you guys. Cause it has been so hot here. It's been in the 90s, which is it's about as hot as it gets here in Michigan. And the humidity is crazy high. And so I've been kicking the kids outdoors to make sure they get outside and burn off some energy. And Ethan, my second oldest, comes in. He's like, Dad, why aren't you outside playing? Why aren't you outside now? It's really hot. I bet you didn't do this, and I'm like, no, like when I was a kid, there was not a choice to come in the house. Like,
right.
It wasn't because we wanted to go raise hell is in the neighborhood. It's because our parents just gave us the boot, when we went outside. I'm like, I'd spend days outside when the weather was like this. And, I look back at those days and I go through neighborhoods today, and I don't see kids riding bikes. I don't see kids out shooting hoops in the driveway. I don't see kids, playing Frisbee or just, doing stupid shit in the backyard. Like it just was a different time, I think, in general.
Do you believe that it is, and I think there's an actual answer to this, do you believe it is more unsafe now for children out and about than it is when we were kids?
I don't think so. I think creepy people were creepy people before and after. Like
We just
I
have
don't,
a wider range of information. We see it
Yeah.
more. We know of it more, I think.
So
I
it's the same, but like we were just risking it more when we were young.
You know, and the thing is, it's like, you know, when we were kids, listen, I had one experience. It was strange. Going to, you know, we go to the mall and we go to the arcade, and you know, there I am with my friends, you know, between two games, and this adult man was kind of almost like shoving me in, you know, like in between the games, and I'm like, what the fuck? And I elbowed him, and all my friends kind of said some shit, and then we ran out, right? You know, so I mean, you know, I think it was there, and I think, you know, having a group of boys together, it was easy for us to, I don't know, you know, link up and fight. However,
I think boys are fearless. Like when you're young in your youth, during the summertime especially, you are invincible. You're
I
not
think
invincible.
it's a generational thing. I think
invincible.
our generation was that way. I think with our kids' generation, not so much. But
No, absolutely. We've softened our kids quite a bit because I think I know full well I should have died multiple times in my youth.
yeah.
You know, multiple times, and somehow I'm alive. But I think I want to prevent my kids from it because they may, and you know, I don't want to.
No, I look at the things I jumped off as on a bike, because like I don't know what you guys, it all sounds like we're on our bikes, except Brent was on a ramp.
No, we were at bikes. Yeah, we built ramps all the time.
Yeah, but you see like these like 5-foot embankments. You know what I mean? You look at it like, I wouldn't do that now. I wouldn't jump off of my feet, let alone my bike, and we just like one after another just don't jump over it and skid out. Hey, check that out. Oh, you know, and like we just do it over and over and over again. And I think there was that fearlessness that you'd never get hurt, I think, in that respect. And I miss that. And there's no way in God's green earth my kids would try to do that today. There's no way they would do it.
Well, I mean, we had these woods behind our house in Cincinnati, and it was a massive sort of man-made dugout bike trail with these ramps. I mean, you would go, when I tell you, and back then you'd say you were 30 feet in the air, but it's a legit 10, 15 feet in the air. You know, like, oh, I was 30 feet. No, but it is, I mean, it was massive. You know, I mean, Cincinnati's all hills and valleys. And we would spend every day there. And listen, we got hurt, but not enough where like things were broken.
Yeah.
You know? You
Just
scrape
walk it off.
you rub it off, you know? So, but I think that's what, I don't remember the last time, and maybe it's because I live in a gated community, that's probably why, but I don't remember last time I heard a ice cream truck.
I used to drive one of those, by the way.
Really? As just your daily driver, or
anyone have the bikes?
It was a summer job.
Anyone have the ones come in their neighborhood with the bikes? They were called like Dickie D Ice Cream Company. They were the big coolers on the front of the bikes.
No,
I'd ride the bike.
The
ice
ice
cream
cream
coolers.
area. Yeah, I've seen them downtown.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Never anywhere
But
else.
my son's out all day long. He skates. You know,
Yeah, he's a
skater.
skateboarder. Yeah.
So he's gone all day. He goes, hooks up with his friends. They go all over, you know, the community. We have a downtown area. They go downtown. They'll cross the river. They go to the skate park. They go to the school right around the corner. So he's out all day. Sarah's kids, Jackson, he plays baseball. So he's constantly playing ball. And Charlie Rose is a gymnast. And so she's doing a lot of activities as well. But the outside playing tag, it's the playing tag in those types of games that I've seen gone away.
I just think there's not as much socialization between kids. I mean, like, your son does skateboarding, so that's one thing. But I know Bill and my kids, it's not like we are, you know, constantly having, if we have kids over, it's one or two at the most, you know, but it's not like, back in my day, it was like a rolling, we were gangs. We were all gangs.
Yeah, we would roam and gang. That's what we call it.
But
It was like the gangs of, it was like the gang, just like the gangs in New York.
And Brent was
like
Daniel
that.
Day-Lewis.
Just like that.
It was exactly like that.
That and dance fighting.
Except with popsicles and Kool-Aid.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Well,
So is this podcast, is this just like fucking, let's just keep going on about the good old days and our kids are assholes? Is that where it just seems like that's where we're getting to?
Well, I'm not saying our kids are assholes. I'm saying maybe
I'm saying all of our kids are assholes.
maybe they're going to be smarter. But I do believe that there's elements about summer that as you get older, summer goes away. Yes, you're working. We're working, so summer has a different role when you're young and free during a summer vacation than it does. Because summer vacation used to be like 2.5 months. Summer vacation to an adult, it's maybe 1 week if you go on vacation. And when you went on vacation, it used to be like a far jaunt somewhere, typically in a car that took a day or more to get to. And now it's just either a quick hop and a jump or a fly, or let's go somewhere within a few hours. I think vacations in a lot of ways have changed for kids as well. And
I hate vacations. Just don't want to throw it out there for the.
I know, and you've got one coming up here in a week, right? Or in a few weeks.
What do you say?
You got one coming up here in a month.
Yeah, it's like forced at gunpoint. But I think that the difference is though, is like summer loses its luster as an adult, and I don't think it's because of work or growing up or anything. It's just the fact that you know too much. Like I as a kid, I could give fuck all care about a giant house or anything. Like that's the part that I would like to get back. It's just like you live in the moment. Every day is just an adventure, and I think that's where summer loses its luster a lot because like you've experienced it all. You've been to a lot of places. Like you've kind of seen different things, and some things do kind of lose their marvel. But it's that notion of just, every day is an adventure. And I think as an adult, you could have that, but I think somehow we let that go. We somehow trade that in when we start paying bills. I love it.
I understand what you're saying there, and I feel a little bit that too. Then I think to myself, okay, was I all that carefree as a kid? I mean, I had a lot of carefree moments, no question, but also as a kid, I had a lot of shit to worry about. My parents were unstable. My friends' parents were unstable. And so I was worried about a lot of shit. But then I would go out and adventure. And so I was thinking recently, okay, was it really all that carefree? Or am I putting a romantic slant on it at this point in my life? And I think that's more it. Because then I started worrying, okay, is my son and all my children not having the opportunity to have those carefree times because of my unstable nature or the world's unstable nature, or are they having those times? And so I watch them, and I know my son's out there skating a lot, and Jackson playing baseball. I know that he's totally free in those moments. And Charlie Rose with the gymnastics, I know she's totally free. So, I'm trying to decide, okay, and if it is me and I'm putting a romantic slant on that, can I turn that around now? And make it make it that awesome nature, that awesome time right here, right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I try to do that as often as I can. And my job is not like most people's. I mean, I don't have a job. I don't go to work essentially. I have projects. So maybe it's a little different for me because my life isn't normal. So I get to have sort of these freer moments. And there's nothing I can do about it because there's not a project on the docket, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, what I'd say is, as an adult, like if you could, let's just put it out there, Bill, if you could just have the summer off,
mm-hmm.
you have the summer off, what would you do? And I mean, if you just tell me yard work, I'll beat your butt. I mean,
it's like projects.
If you're a grown up. You're a grown-up, and I'm not saying money's no object, so let's keep it somewhat realistic. But you're grown up, you've got wife and kids, but what would you do if you could just every day not have to worry about work for 2.5 months?
Well, I gotta say, having 12 weeks off would be like living in like any Scandinavian country or Switzerland. It'd be great. MAGA. So I would travel a lot more.
The opposite of that.
I would travel way more. One thing we kind of hit a vein on last year is that we went hiking and we went and saw waterfalls and stuff like that. And it's the first time, like my wife especially, like had really done things like that. And I mentioned adventure, but I like that part of just getting out, seeing things new, broadening my perspective, meeting new people, all those things. And I think that in a way, that's how I decompress, because it allows me to see how the rest of the world is, and that maybe things aren't as bad as what they seem to, whether my world or somebody else's. But I think if I had the ability just to blow the whole summer off, I would go more places and do more things. And it's not a budget thing because you can do that for free essentially. So I would certainly spend a lot more time and like definitely making sure my kids were there to experience these things. And we kind of bitch about our kids a lot, but I mean, it's one of those things like I want to get them out there, get them, seeing the world, seeing different parts of the country.
That I mean, you and I talk about it a lot. Like, I can't wait to take my kids over to Europe. But I know right now, two things. Number one is, like, there's elements about areas of Europe that they're not going to like. When it comes to meals, the food they eat, there's just things that they're going to bitch at and complain about. And
they have plenty of cheese in Europe, Joe.
Yeah, it's not just cheese. But the second thing is, I don't think they'd appreciate it. Like, I do not believe that like they'd appreciate going to, like, Tim might appreciate going to the Louvre, but Ty is a 9-year-old. Like, what's the point? Like, yes, it's cool to maybe ride on a train or go on the shuttle or see the Eiffel Tower. There's gonna be some things they'd remember, but I don't think they'd appreciate the sheer majesty of the architecture and things.
Maybe not now, but I mean, this is
that's like after freshman year of college.
Yeah, but they might look back on it. That's what I'm saying, though. Is like they may not appreciate it now, but when they get to be an adult, it's like, hey, what was
I was
that?
in a blackout freshman year of college.
See, some of the greatest times I had as a kid, my grandparents owned a houseboat, and we'd go up and down the Mississippi River, and that
on your raft with your friend,
awesome,
with a stick, with like the handkerchief on it.
Sometimes the houseboat would get stuck. We had this huge stick that we'd have to push it out of the mud with.
Heading down through Cairo, Illinois. So
houseboats are kick-ass, by the way. Just
great.
There's nothing better than a houseboat.
Yeah, houseboat. It was just amazing. I never slept better.
Just to make sure, is that a boat that's made of house?
This memory of my grandfather, and at the time he seemed to be such a powerful dude. What's that?
A houseboat. Is that a boat made of houses?
Yeah, that's right. And in the morning he'd push us out to the water. My grandmother made a cake in the sand. She dug in the sand and made like an oven in the sand. Those times were pretty incredible. And Sarah
sand oven to bake those sand cakes.
Yeah, right. Unbelievable.
So I mean, I will say, and I've looked into getting a houseboat, just like for a weekend or whatever. But again, I know Tim. Just the concept of the bugs that come with being on lakes, he's not going to do. He hates bugs. He's got to
bugs around lakes. That's normally where you go to get away from bugs. Like, I'm kind of wondering.
Well, at night they're bad at night. Yeah, but actually, when you get out on open water, they're not out on open water.
No, they're not.
But regardless, like, I've looked at those things. I think it'd be a lot of fun. And don't get me wrong, we are always going someplace, but we always we're in Florida. So, like, you drive an hour in any direction, and you're in a beach resort town. Like, to go to a really cool lake, I'd have to drive up into Tennessee,
Well, but I think that's the point of having the whole summer off, though, right? Like,
yeah, right. Drive.
When you have an agenda, then it kind of, like, that's kind of why I don't like vacation. Like, and I love my wife dearly. If she's listening, she's not. She's working like a hardworking woman she is. But we go back and forth on this because I kind of like to like just let the day come to me. You know what I mean? And why I didn't like vacations as a kid, and I literally quit going on vacation with my parents when I got older. I just didn't want to go because there was always this like set agenda because you got 5 days to try to pack all this stuff in.
Sure.
And we were just talking about our trip to Hawaii years ago. And my favorite part about it, and we both agreed, was like the fact that like we just woke up and like, what do you want to do? Let's go to the Dole plantation. Okay, awesome. Let's drive there and go see where pineapples are made. You know what I mean? Like it just, there wasn't
see where pineapples are
made. I said that on purpose. So
made. That's great.
So
pineapples are born.
Exactly. So
go see the pineapple.
I thought they were on trees or like in like these weird bushes.
No, it's just like Annie the musical. They're all orphans.
Yeah, exactly.
They sing and they clean stuff, and then they get put in cans and shipped around the world.
Exactly.
To their new homes.
But I mean, like that was the coolest part of that trip because I paid with it almost all points, all miles. You know, so it wasn't like a budgetary issue at all like other vacations. Like it was great, but it was because like it just came to us. The days just came to us. And I think having that context like Joe talked about where you have the whole summer off, it's like, well, hell, like let's drive somewhere and just stay there. Because
Yeah, well, I mean, you and I have talked a lot about you renting an RV with your family, me renting one for my family, and just working to meet each other out in Yellowstone with families.
I'll do that
for a week. I always thought that would be and listen, we still have the opportunity to do that in the future. And just
We love that.
I think we should plan it right now during the podcast.
Yeah. Watch calendars.
jump online.
Just share your screen.
6 months from now, like 7-8 months from now, we're all in Yellowstone, and Eric is like, "Dude, why didn't you invite us?" And we're like, "Oh, you weren't on that podcast again." So, but I will say, I mean, above and beyond vacations, because I mean, vacations are fun. My grandparents owned an RV, so they'd take me out during the summer, and we go down to the Tennessees and all those, and the Pigeon Forges and the Gatlinburgs, and we'd stay at campgrounds. And campgrounds are pretty filthy places, you know. Let's just put it out there. A lot of them, and or at least maybe the ones that they put us up at. But I do very clearly remember, like, I could leave the camper and then I'd come back around dinner time, and it didn't matter where the heck I was. I could not do that with my kids. Like, maybe Tim, because he's like literally the size of most men, but like I couldn't just let Ty as a 9-year-old. Even if he was 10, like, hey, come back in 3 hours. Like, it's not in me. I wouldn't allow it.
But I think there's something to that. And going back to we talked about before, is I think like adults were just more with it. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? I think when I was a kid, it wasn't like nosiness, but like other people kind of watching, like they would intervene, you know? And like, I think that's one thing that's different is with people today, like, and I'm gonna not get into all the political stuff and like that, but I'm just saying. But in general, like people just tend to keep their mouths shut. And I know as a kid, like if you were raising hell, like somebody would say something. You know what I mean? Like to Dave's point, like people are out waving their fists at you, not because you pranked them or anything, but it's like, hey, you kids are being loud. We're like, okay, cool, sorry. Like we didn't even in a million years. We might grumble behind their back later, but like I think people were just generally more involved. There's like more cohesion. I
do that to kids to mess with them sometimes, because as a grown man, like I remember I was visiting my buddy Chris Sweeney, who I was talking about, my best friend growing up. His family comes to Disney, and I was meeting him down there, and I'm sitting there with his family, and there was these like 6 kids on vacation, all in this giant booth next to us, having fun. This is their vacation, and I just look up and go, shh, and they freeze. They don't know what to do, because they're at like a Disneyland restaurant.
Those kids are foreign.
This is where you be loud that one time of the year. And some grown man gives them the most direct shush of their lives. And they didn't know how to be, like, they really did. They just like slowly left that booth,
Yes, I'm afraid to say something to a kid, because honestly, I think that a kid might start attacking and putting it on Facebook.
I think with social media, like you look at summers, what kids do, right? With there's a lot of articles written on right now about kids just sort of wasting away their summers, like staying up too late and watching TV or on social media. But like when we were kids, when you got into the dog days, all you did was sit around and watch TV. Like when you got,
it's true. There's some of that.
So nothing changes. And it got so bad for my sister that she got stuck in the TV, and my dad had to like try to get her out. And then we had to bring a religious person in to try to get her out of the TV, because she was stuck in there, because our house was on top of this ancient burial ground. We didn't even know it, but my sister watched so much TV that she got stuck in the TV.
Outside in. Did you try that?
No, we just threw tennis balls at it.
Smart. That's very smart.
I never made
the tennis balls came back out, but she didn't. That's why there's only brothers in the family. She didn't make it in my version of my summer.
So I mean, but here's the difference. This is why we weren't inside watching TV all the time. There was nothing on. There was a few channels.
There was everything on. Everything was on.
Yeah, but there was Saturday morning cartoons. You didn't have a Cartoon Network. You didn't have something. You didn't have.
You had soap operas.
No, I mean
General Hospital.
You had Andy Griffith. You had
Price is Right.
Never watched it.
Price is Right.
You had
Wild.
You had
the Mike Douglas Show.
Yeah, you had Quincy
Nope.
and syndication.
Dinah Shore.
Don't know any of these. I know Price is Right, and I knew some of the game shows, but I never watched TV much when I was a kid. Maybe prime time if it was like Small Wonder or Alf was on, but beyond that, there was nothing. worth watching. So,
Listen, once some of those shows started coming on and I was still in the house during the day in the summertime, I started getting upset. I'd have to get out, and man, we had a place called the Gully near my house, where that was one of the places we would go and just stay out all day, adventure, and almost get hurt, have to pull somebody up out of the water. I mean, and then later on, if we didn't get chased, it sucked.
Did you guys have local swimming clubs? Because we had one called Phillips, we had one called Phillips Swim Club that we belonged to, but then there was Surf Cincinnati, which had all these amazing water slides, really, and a huge wave pool. And I remember we had season tickets to that, or season passes to that. When I tell you that my mom, after my folks split, my mom would take my sister, myself, and my buddy Chris every single day, or at least 3 days a week minimum, maybe 4, to Surf Cincinnati. We would literally live outside and do for 2-3 summers in a row.
Yeah, a lot of
water slides, wave pools, lazy rivers every single day. It was, just like living in Florida, you can't do Disney every day. It would break you. Like, you can't do Disney. Nobody can do. If you're on vacation, you might try to do 5 days in a row at Disney, but if you live here, that would break you. There's just not enough need for it.
We had two pools in our area. We had Thresher and Hager Pool. And we'd be pool time all, and when we got older, we'd ride our bikes there, be there all day. You'd have your change in your suit pocket, right? And that little
pocket, and you have to fold bills in fours.
Right.
Put it in there. And when it gets wet, oh God, getting it out of there was a real challenge.
Yeah.
I never had that because we didn't have pools on this oceanside town I lived in. There was all these posters of kids that were missing. And then my older brother got hung up with this group of vampires that my other friends and I had to hunt. So we didn't have time to go to the pool and put change in our bathing suit because we were too busy hunting this band of teenage vampires.
Yeah, no, and for Dave and I, it was different because we had this little baseball field right near us, and one time Dave hit a ball over the fence, and this big dog that was a killer dog got a hold of it, and then we had to build.
It was one hell of a pickle. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah, we had to build all these contraptions to try to get it back.
There was this whole one summer I spent just taking tango lessons in Paris, and it kind of weird.
Yeah, so
the last time I do that,
I spent the summer at a country club, and it got really good at playing cards, gin, as a matter of fact. Oh, what a blast that summer was!
I was
hanging out with the rich chick, So
Bill and I found an old Tilt-A-Whirl cart, and because Bill's a brainiac, he went and built it into the ability to create essentially a spaceship. And we went up and visited another spaceship and met what we thought were aliens, but it turns out they're just alien children. So
there was one summer my parents divorced, and I had to decide which one I wanted to stay with, and they renamed themselves to the Kramers, not the Weeses, and that was the worst summer ever.
That's a tough one.
Yeah, hey, that movie broke me. I never watched that.
I know
until college. So I remember I was in college. Even though this isn't a summer story, I'm in college, and everyone tells me
no one cares.
From a divorce household, and then you watch Kramer versus Kramer, and then my buddy opens the door to my fraternity room, and he goes, "Hey, Joe, are you?" And he looks at me, and I'm crying. And he's like, "Oh, I'll come back." And he closes the door. So then the movie finishes. Maybe 45 minutes later. Comes out, and he's making mac and cheese in this little hot plate like a psychopath. And I'm like, yeah, he's like, is everything all right, Joe? And I said, yeah, I just watched Kramer versus Kramer, and he's from a divorce home. He's like, oh, yeah. Like, he gets it.
I couldn't imagine that happening in college. Somebody would have, made me go to the room, handed me a pint of, Seagram 7, and we would have went and had fun and not watched the movie. It would have been...
No.
If
you see a grown man crying, you either console him or you give him his space. You don't be like, we're going to get past this, brother. You don't Hulk Hogan them.
That's usually my method.
Well, maybe because I didn't have public pools to swim in. That was.
No, we only had the pool at the country club, and the caddies. We had a caddy day, and we could only swim in the pool from 2 to 2:15.
That time,
one kid threw a chocolate bar. Yeah, a kid threw a chocolate bar in the pool, and we never got to do it again.
It looked like a duty.
It looked like a duty. Yeah,
Some-
Carl the greenskeeper ate it
some
though
Irish
to
girl?
show us that was just chocolate bar. It was no big deal.
Oh, Donnie.
Yeah,
Oh, Donnie.
and in the coronavirus summer, there aren't team sports going on, so there's not a lot of there's not baseball.
Not a lot of
games.
asshole parents. Yeah, the level of asshole parents
They've
is
no,
gone
they-
way
they
down
actually-
in the counts.
We've started doing
Sports
soccer.
parents.
Yeah.
They do summer soccer. They just
Playing
started.
ball,
Up.
we're playing
Oh,
baseball.
really? They're doing soccer there? Yeah, no. Listen, it's all parks and recreation centers around us. I haven't seen anybody outside.
No, up here,
And-
same. They haven't
that's
started
great.
anything up.
We put a lid on things though, in like Florida, where they're having like 10,000 cases a day or something like that. So
Well, no, you're
Yeah.
only allowed going to beaches and bars. You're not allowed having sports yet.
and open
No,
off.
you're allowed to have 50 people over in your backyard, your pool, and take pictures on your Instagram of everyone on floaties, because that's going to go well.
Yeah, and
think that-
again, well, the one thing I will say is, well, because of this, since the middle of March, early March, we've been in the pool every single day. I mean,
bet.
every day we go in the pool. So, so for that reason, it's really nice just having that where I can walk. I'm 25 feet away right now from jumping in the pool if I wanted to.
Hey, listen, I gotta say something. Vanessa just chimed in. It's hysterical. She said, "You can make a movie out of Brent Summers."
You could
Any one
totally
of them.
make a movie out of Brent Summer.
Yeah, what Brent didn't tell you about that summer where the Japanese guy came to town and taught him how to do martial arts to actually fight off the school bullies.
Karate.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, was it karate?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I did the same thing, but I had an old man beat the crap out of those kids for me. I mean,
Yeah.
just beat the crap out. Like he must have been 50, and he beat minors like they were a dog. Okay, so
Hashtag Cincinnati.
hey guys, it has been a fun day, especially fun without having Eric here, because if we had Eric talking about summers, it would just be like, back in my day, like I helped the milkman, who knows?
Well, he, instead of detasseling corn, he built the railroads. So that's what happened during his summers.
It was all bomb drills and stuff.
Yeah, that snake oil sales, conquering the Indians, just stuff like that.
Doctors coming over with leeches if you got yourself the vapors.
The vapors.
Bloodletting.
Yeah, got yourself the cough. But it has been a good time. Listen, at the end of the day, what do you want to accomplish the rest of the summer, Bill? I know you got a vacation coming up, but what do you want to accomplish the rest of the summer?
We can't talk shop. So, no, like I said, I just kind of want to like reintegrate a little bit more this summer. Like it's been nice because things have been opening up. So just went to the zoo last weekend and, just trying to do things conscientiously, but also like kind of do summer things. Like we've spent a ton of time in the house the last couple months, and I just want to get back outdoors and get back to experiencing things before, because this is one thing that's different. Okay, he's talking about having a pool. He lives in Florida. He has nice weather almost all the time. Like I quite literally have 49% sunshine where I live throughout the whole year. So our summers are precious in the Midwest.
Yeah.
And so if it's not like tornadic weather, and it's not 1,000,000 degrees outside, I want to be outdoors because we're trapped constantly. So I'm just dying to get out and, doing that type of stuff. So I do want to spend more time outdoors and just, do some fun stuff with my kids, get away from the TV and just try to have a sense of normalcy. That's my goal this summer. Best I can.
Brent, what's your goal the rest of the summer?
I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't even know how this day is going to finish, so I don't know. Yeah, honestly, I don't. No, I don't. I don't set sort of. I don't know. I don't mean to be flippant about it. I don't have a goal for the summer. I just try to take it one day at a time. But I kind of have to do things that way.
Like summers used to be.
Yeah, I just take it one day at a time because this year it's so weird. Like Bill said, I work outside as much as I can because we get a limited window of weather, and it with everything that's going on with the health crisis this year, usually we go and maybe rent something or get out to a lake or something for a week here or there. But it's weird because people kind of didn't do that because they didn't know what was going on, and now there's a bit of a scramble to get those places, so everything's kind of booked, and I don't know.
We ran into that same thing.
Get to Labor Day. I don't know.
Yeah,
That's,
we
that's
ran
the
that
goal.
same thing.
Survive to Labor Day.
Not to get out of order here, but when we tried to get a Airbnb, so once things opened up, we decided to stay here in Michigan just because we didn't know what was going to go on with the different states and stuff and shutting down and quarantines and that stuff. And and the same thing, Brent's point, like once things sort of opened up, then it was just like poof, everything went crazy.
Yeah, like
hotels and stuff went crazy.
Any sort of vacation inventory is like gone away. There's stuff out there. It's just a matter of making it what you can. But I just take it a day at a time right now because like like Lisa said, it was quite lovely last week. We're gonna have a great summer. It's just we're gonna tackle it in the moment, right? Like we did some gardening on the weekend and just did some hanging out, and it's had a friend over on Saturday night here in the grotto to hang, and sometimes that's all it needs to be. I don't know if it needs to be. And again, you're right. Like when you've got younger kids, you have to set up that expectation because it is summer vacation, because you have stuff, and because there's this, this level of summer vacations are for this. Maybe it's a little different because I'm almost an empty nester, and I've got Maggie sort of half the time, and she's also looking for work. So she's going to start probably working part-time at some point this summer.
Good for her.
So that's going to limit her time to do things as well. So I think last summer she really sort of, like last year, she teed up some good holidays. She did do Europe with her mom, and she did do California to see my side of the family. And so I don't know, this summer's just figure it out. Because again, we're still trying to do our duty about staying away from people and stuff. And there's like the pools are open here and the beaches are open here in Toronto and stuff, but they're fucking packed. And I'm not going to go hang around fucking arm in arm with people because I'm reading too much about people going, I went to this thing and now I got sick. Oh, and now that guy's dead, right? Like I know some people don't believe it, and you got your flu people and everything else, but I don't need to go hang out in congested areas. Like everyone in Toronto's done a really good job right now with masks and stuff, but it's just a lot of, I don't know. I just want to ride this out quietly, just ride out whatever all of this is.
Yeah, this summer.
Maybe that's the goal, just to quietly ride it out.
To survive.
Summer, we get a mulligan on this summer.
Yeah, it's a good way to put it, right? It's just like don't set too much of an expectation on something that we don't, right? Because look at like up here, they've done a really great job of changing things, and they're getting ready to do there's talk about a stage 3 opening that maybe this week, or maybe they'll delay it. But then you look down there, and there's now all these, like the caseloads are changing, and everything's changing. The borders are still certain ways, and I'm even looking, like you said, it's a mulligan because I'm even looking at where some of these states now have cases, and we're all supposed to get together in the fall again and do things like digital dealer and stuff. And is that even going to happen? Because even the fall shows are now going virtual or going online. And it's like, I'd love to, would I love to get down to Vegas or Florida to fucking do a conference and just hang out with everyone live? Sure. But I have to come back here still and quarantine for 14 days.
Yeah. I just read that the borders were closed another year. It was like a whole year. You know what I mean? Because we initially wanted to go to Quebec, and we'd look to places there.
Yeah, I told you guys to go. Yeah, to go.
Yeah, and so we were, really wanting to do that, and it doesn't look like, obviously I want to go, I'd like to go visit Brent and stuff in Toronto and stuff like that, and it's just not.
Yeah, I'd love to have you guys out. And that's that's the thing about the border too. But like you're saying, like there's 3 of us on this call and Joe came up really fast last year, right? Even when he drove it from the Carolinas, like there's 3 of us on this call in the air for that matter that. You could kind of drive to each other's places and just hang out family to family and do that. But because the border is what it is, I could drive to Bill's place. For me, I could drive my car to Dave's place, but coming back, I'd have to quarantine for 14 days. And I would.
We're starting to see that state right now as well, though. I mean, like Michigan shut down from certain military installations. You can't fly back. Joe and I got a trip coming up here in a couple of weeks. I'm getting nervous that we may not be able to do it the way things are going.
You can't go into certain provinces still. Like you can't go out to the Maritimes. Like a lot of people in the summer drive out to the Maritimes and go to Prince Edward Island and Halifax.
I know a lot of people traveling, and I'm not looking forward to traveling on our trip, Bill. But I mean, I know a lot of people that are in the skies pretty frequently. So I don't think like Iowa's not a hot.
Gary May is only in the skies apparently. He's only in planes. He's
Yeah.
not in the ground anymore. He's just in the air.
And sometime soon, I don't know if we're going to get it done before the end of the summer. I got to get Bill and Dave down here for some work stuff. So, so I know that needs to happen sooner or later. But beyond that, I've said it before and I'll say it again. Like I have enjoyed some of the sedentary actions where it's just going in the pool, grilling out at home, watching movies with the kids, working on the house, instead of going over to the, my normal office and flying or driving to different places all the time. Like, I've really enjoyed just sort of being a homebody and not having to go anywhere, not being able to go anywhere. And for that reason, I will say it's great.
Oh, listen though, I want to say I think there's a silver lining for some people out there. They don't see it that way, but for a lot of these road warrior types, we know they're actually are able to get home and kick up their feet and grill and do that stuff that they normally would not be able to do. And I think Dave and I, we talk, but shit, it's the same thing. Like we work from home 99% of the time. So for us, it's just more of the same, but for a lot of people that don't really even know their kids, I know people like that just don't spend any time with their kids. Like, it's a good time for them to stay home and actually see their spouse and maybe, strengthen their relationship. So I think a lot of people could actually get something positive out of this summer if they just change their outlook on things. And I hope for some people that's the case, because you just brought it before, Joe, you'd be on the road right now. I mean, that's, how you live part of your life, and it's good for you to just hang out, actually enjoy your pool instead of just, seeing pictures of it, your pictures of your kids in it, and so there's a lot of positives, I think, for a lot of people that they could take away, and hopefully they decide to look at it that way.
Great, awesome. Well, guys, Dave, you gonna do anything special in the summer?
In a couple weeks, there's a baseball tournament in Kentucky that seems to still be happening. So I'll truck down to Kentucky and do that, and if we have that opportunity, tour around and see Mammoth Cave and do some of that kind of stuff if that's possible.
Love Kentucky.
Road trips, we take at least a road trip a summer somewhere, so hopefully that'll we'll be able to do that. Other than that, the kids are doing some sports, are hanging around. We have people over at my house a lot, as far as my family and the kids running around, and so I hope it'll be as fun as it was when I was a kid. Listen, before we go out, I just want to say this. This quarantine has been real tough. No, don't go there. This quarantine has been real tough, and I really, really appreciate you guys, all of you guys, in such a way. You all have reached out to me personally to make sure I'm okay, and that means a lot. And so I appreciate it. Thank you. I love you guys.
Yeah, me too.
Well, you always get that from me, but not these other two jamokes.
But one thing Dave wrote, before I forget though, there is a badass underwater cave, or not underwater, but there's a cave. They just discovered it a decade ago, maybe. We happened to discover on our road trips, where I'll send you the stuff, but you can literally you go underground and it's all flooded. So you take this raft through this cave, and the water's crystal clear. It is a really bizarre thing, but at the same time super awesome. And what's cool is it's not like every other place in Kentucky where there's a go-kart track and another go-kart track next to it, and then fireworks in between. It's in the middle of nowhere, so there's not a bunch of kitschy bullshit around it. It's really a lot of fun.
I think Sarah knows of it.
So and again, I think what I said, this summer's a mulligan. So I guess sometimes I feel a little bad that I'm not going and doing anything special. But Bill knows me; I rarely take vacations anyway. But we do a lot of weekend getaways, and really haven't listened to that. I mean, scheduled any of those. So I think I just want more of the same. I sort of just want the togetherness that this has given me, and I know we've got a trip coming up in 2.5 weeks or whatever, and I still want you guys down sometime soon. But I am going to ride this wave, as Brent calls it, until I don't think this is going to blow over. And everybody's talking about herd immunity, but there hasn't been any proof that you can't catch it twice. So and the second time it might not be as severe. Yeah, it might not be as severe, but you might have more long-term underlying lingering issues on the second time. So yeah, listen, I want you guys to stay safe this summer. That doesn't mean, back in the day, saying stay safe on July 4th meant don't blow your hand off and don't drink too much. Now stay safe on July 4th means don't go out in a group of 400 people and party. And And we've been doing pretty good time staying away from people or social distancing. We still were able to go and socialize a little bit this weekend. And for that reason, I'm grateful for that. And I'm grateful for all of you guys.
Love you guys.
So, yeah, take care, everyone. Have a safe,
Solidarity. Solidarity
summer.
right here.
Solidarity. These are my computer glasses.
My computer glasses too, legitimately computer glasses, by the way.
Yeah,
Legit.
but these are legitimate because you can see the glare. They have no prescription. How do I know? These are my prescriptions.
And Dave, say hi to that ghost who I keep seeing it go through your window back and forth. Just say hi to her for me.
Dave, she's only in the TV.
She's on the TV.
Yeah, Sarah just insists on being there. Like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna let them know that there's somebody here.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's just like this ethereal ponytail going back and forth there.
All right, everybody have a great, safe, happy summer, and let's ride this wave. We'll talk to you soon.
Love you
Yeah,
guys.
bye,
See ya.
Jarek.
Looks like Brent's at the zoo.
I am at the zoo. Little fucking animals out here.
Wow. What do you have against animals?
Yeah.
Everything. Fuck animals.
Just all of them.
Animals. Fuck marketing. Fuck automotive.
Oh, you're just in a sad mood.